Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. It's not a solo show today. Joining me once again this week, a very concussed Josh Bohe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Mark. Those lights are blinding behind you. We got to figure something out here the next break.
Want me to run in my car and grab a pair of sunglasses for you?
I don't know. I mean, this is brutal.
Yeah, we can.
We'll do something.
Yeah, we'll adjust those for you.
But I'm here.
Yeah, Josh is here. Like I said, still heavily concussed. Your nickname will now be Paige Beckers.
Sure.
Yeah, she just
Did you get one?
Yeah, she just got one. Just started her WNBA career, and she already found herself on the injured list in typical Paige Beckers fashion because never played a healthy year at UConn, which is a shame. But so yeah, she's now on the injured list with a concussion. But
could be a while. Could be a while, Paige.
Could be a while, Paige.
That's what I keep hearing.
But you are not on the injured list. You are you're playing your concussion games.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like an adult who doesn't have the same, it's like, oh, you drove your car today. You did so good, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. That's just what I do all the time. I should be able to.
Pat said, Mark, why do you look like a bad landlord? Fair. I have a wedding to go to this afternoon.
Good watch, though.
Solid watch. Shout out Movement Watches, sponsor us. You sponsored everyone else for a 5-year span. So this is why I say podcast ads work.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I just heard nothing but Movement podcast ads for like 2 years.
Yeah,
and
I'll do it.
I was like, yeah, screw it. It's a nice watch. Love it. And I also use Harry's razors for the same reason.
Harry's, I got on Harry's once because of a podcast.
Yeah. Good razors.
I like the gel.
Oh yeah, the shave gel is fantastic.
Gel.
Yeah. Pat just made see, he always tries to get me with this Ron Burgundy thing where it's like I'm not going to read that.
I'd read it. Thank God I'm not looking at it.
Do have a lot to talk about today, mainly in the world of college sports. Big college sports going on right now. The NCAA lacrosse championship just wrapped up.
Yep.
Josh is sitting here like, what the hell is going on in the world of college sport? You just watched your first lacrosse game.
That's true.
Week.
I watched a half.
Yeah.
Thanks, Syracuse. Sorry. It was a tough game.
Bad showing for Syracuse against Maryland last Saturday. I will say Maryland's defense, stifling.
Sure.
I mean, no one can stop C.J. Kirst, so that's why they struggled with Cornell, but very stifling defense from Maryland. I expected a little better from Syracuse. But.
I got to watch more games because I told you, and again, this could be a childish approach to the game of lacrosse, but I'm like, just have the best guy just run straight down. Like, they can't check people, right? I mean, they can get in front of you, but you just run through them, and then you just put the shot on net. You do that every time. There's not enough of these minute-long plays. There's no play.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened. You set a pick for what? Guys, open, just shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. I mean, is this crazy? Is this a crazy thing?
Yes and no.
I mean, it's kind of like if I was watching the NHL and I'm like, why doesn't McDavid just shoot every time?
That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess that sucks.
I will say lacrosse, the higher scoring game.
Sure.
So it makes sense for someone who has never experienced lacrosse before to think that way.
Yeah.
But if you actually watch a little bit more lacrosse, it's not just that. Yeah, Pat said, yes, it's crazy. A good zone lacrosse defense is really tough to break individually. Yeah, it's like it is pretty crazy to think that way, but I can see where you're coming from.
I'm a newbie.
Yeah, you're totally new to the game, and you got in at the right time when there's no lacrosse to be played.
Exactly.
What are you going to do? Watch the PLL?
No.
So, yeah, you're getting in at the right time directly after the NCAA championship.
I'll be back next spring.
Will you?
No. No.
I'll bring you to an SU lacrosse game. They're fun.
All right, I'll do that.
You get to watch Joey Spallina, who's very good at lacrosse. Pat says, I've been a big college lax guy since Rob was at Bing. Yeah, college lacrosse does rule. Shout out Rob Martin, friend of the program. And he, I used to watch Rob's games at Binghamton. He was the goalie at Binghamton. And I got into it because my brother-in-law was a college lacrosse coach. He was the head coach at Ohio Wesleyan. He was the head coach at Geneseo. May or may not have interviewed for the Syracuse job. and lost out to the greatest lacrosse player of all time.
That's just tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Or I'm sorry, he was the head coach of Plattsburgh, not Geneseo. He played at Geneseo and then played grad school at Plattsburgh. But then, yeah, he was the head coach at Ohio Wesleyan and then the head coach at Plattsburgh. I remember Plattsburgh coming to Oswego while we were there and going to the game and feeling bad that I was actively rooting against him.
That's his livelihood.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And
what are you going to do?
Oswego won.
Lakers.
Yeah, go Lakers. Oswego won that game. So sorry, Joe. So that's when I got into college lacrosse. It was sort of, it was sort of the thing in high school where like Pat and I and like all of our friends, we were baseball players.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't care about lacrosse. Like,
totally.
That was screw the lacrosse guys. You're either a baseball guy or a lacrosse guy. And we were baseball guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I still watch college baseball as well, but college lacrosse is a lot of fun. And congrats to Cornell, winning the National Lacrosse Championship. CJ Kirst having maybe the greatest season in the history of college lacrosse. CJ Kirst did something that no one had done in 21 years. He won the Tuaraton Award, won a national championship, was drafted number 1 overall in the PLL draft, led Division I in points, led Division I in goals. The last player to do that was Mikey Powell at Syracuse University, and one of the great Powell brothers. And you throw that on top of the fact that he also became the all-time leader in goals for Division I lacrosse.
Quite the season.
Quite the season for CJ Kirst, the 4th of 5 brothers.
A dynasty.
An absolute dynasty in college lacrosse. And if I'm anyone else, like any other team, I am terrified of what his little brother is going to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, go Cornell, and if you don't chew Big Red, then...
But yeah, I'm super happy for Cornell. They hadn't won since the original Star Wars was in theaters.
Whoa.
They won the national championship like 2 days after the original Star Wars hit theaters in 1977.
Wow.
So to do it, this much further in the future, and for them to do it with a local kid. Shout out Luke Gilmartin, who's been on the program. I saw Luke the other day. Wished him congratulations. He's in obviously great spirits. He said, we were talking about the team. He said there were a bunch of great guys, and I was asking him about CJ.
Sure.
Because Luke was, as we outlined on the show when we interviewed him, one of the great athletes to come out of this area in a while, just in terms of everything he could do. He was the number 1 on the West Hill golf team. He decided to leave the golf team, join the soccer team. Then he leads the section in goals.
Yep.
Or he might not have led the section, but he was close. And then he wins a state championship his senior year as the starting point guard for the basketball team and goes on to play lacrosse at Cornell. So those other 3 things were his backup sports.
Right.
And in his main sport, he just won a college national championship. And so for an athlete of his caliber, I was asking him about CJ Kirst, and he was like, Mark, I've never seen anything like him. He's absurd.
Freak of nature.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. I was like, well, you were one of the top lacrosse players in the section, in high school. And he's like, I don't even come close. He was like, I'm good. That guy's a freak.
Maybe next year, we'll see. Without Kirst, there's a hole now on that team.
I don't know if there is. That's the thing with lacrosse is programs stay good. It's very rare you see a dip, like Syracuse has taken in recent years. Some would say they're back.
Sure.
Made it to Memorial Day weekend for the first time since 2013. Big. I would argue that Syracuse lacrosse might be back.
Sure.
But, the teams like Maryland and Hopkins and Syracuse and Duke, North Carolina, Denver, all of these sort of legacy programs are just always good. And Cornell is kind of one of those and is now stepping back into what Cornell lacrosse used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary for the rest of the country. Jim said his 1 year considered back. It's more back than we've been in the last 12 years, Jim.
Yeah, I'd count
it. There's a lot of Gary Gate haters out there.
Sure
and I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it.
It's too early.
People were saying Joey Spallina can't win the big one. They were like, he can't perform in the big games, and he drops 4-4 against Princeton, and it looks like Joey can play in the big one. He called out all the haters. Maryland's defense and Maryland's goalie they're too good for almost anyone. I was actually kind of surprised that Cornell put up 13 on him. I was like, if Cornell wins this game, it's going to be 9-6. And for it to end up 13-10 just shows how good CJ Kurtz and that Cornell offense were.
I will say, shout out to the rest of the goalies who got first team nods, because we said that Syracuse's goalie was wrongfully left off the list, and then that guy looked like Swiss cheese last week.
Yeah, it wasn't a great Jimmy McCool game.
What a great name, though. Great kid.
Great name. And he is very good.
Yeah.
It's just...
No, they were getting killed.
Yeah.
Like, they just... Honestly, watching the game bad, like Syracuse would be there, feels like nothing happened, and then Maryland would just score.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, see, that should be what happens for every team. Like, the game should be 50-50.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Why? Yeah. Every lacrosse game should be, it should be looking like a college basketball.
Yes.
Cornell beats Maryland 78-64 in a defensive matchup in the NCAA championship game. Which that would be a lot of. I think we should go no goalie lacrosse.
Yeah, get rid of the long sticks. But the first time I saw a goalie run past half, I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" I had no clue.
They'll score every once in a while too.
What?
That's always fun.
Well, then they let the goalie get back sometimes. It's very confusing. I still don't understand it all, folks.
Yeah,
but it's quite fun.
Yeah,
it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, when a goalie goes coast to coast, it's awesome.
It's bad. It's crazy. They got to run all the way back. It's so much running.
It's a lot of running. It is, in fact, a lot of running.
Who's going to get in front of that ball, too? Like, it's not like, you just stand in front of it. That's psycho. That's a psycho play.
Goalies of lacrosse don't wear pads.
I saw.
Yeah.
They're wild people.
Yeah. There's no pads. It's just a jersey and sweatpants.
Ugh.
And someone's chucking a ball 90 miles an hour at you.
I couldn't do that.
No, I couldn't do that.
No, I hate that. I hate, even in hockey, I remember like people, you get the pads on you. No, I don't like the pads. It doesn't help. I just don't like feeling like I'm being attacked.
Apparently some goalies wear pads, but...
Like a chest protector?
Maybe. If they're wearing sweatpants, they probably are. But a lot of those guys wear shorts.
Yeah. Just take one of the shin.
Stone said goalies in lacrosse are certified psychos getting obliterated by a rock being tossed 100 miles an hour. Yeah. Even if you are wearing some form of padding.
Sure.
Still don't want that.
Nope.
Don't want that one bit. It's like when a catcher takes a foul ball off the mask or something. It's like, oh, he's got a mask on. Guy's concussed. Almost ruined Joe Mauer's career. He had to stop catching because of it. Got into the Hall of Fame still, but
you goddamn right. Joe Mauer.
What are you, a big Joe Mauer guy?
I am. Big Joe Mauer. Well, the Red Wings were the Twins.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I saw him once.
I was gonna say he probably came down for.
I definitely saw him more now. So I have some love for those Twins guys.
Yeah, a couple of MVPs.
Yeah. Brian Dozier.
Love me some Bulldozer. That guy rocked. Remember he randomly hit 43 home runs one year or something? It was like
that guy was juicing. Right? I mean,
he never got caught.
Who was the guy who Eric Thames? Or wasn't that
the
guy's name?
Yeah, Eric Thames.
Then they thought he was juicing. I mean, that guy gets tested.
Yeah,
Dozier had to get tested.
Yeah, man. Dozier was definitely getting tested. That guy
was out of nowhere. He had an MVP season.
Stoned is just naming dudes in the chat now.
Hit me.
Nick Punto, Michael Kadire.
Wow, Kadire.
A couple of Twins legends.
Okay.
Pat says Eric Thames is the Yankees hitting coach now. That is true.
Wow.
Wait, is it Eric Thames or Marcus Thames? because there was also Marcus Thames. And Pat said Carl Pavano.
And second line,
Carl Pavano. We should just do a naming dudes segment on this show.
No other
words.
words.
Once in a while.
Just guys.
Just naming dudes.
Yeah.
We did a whole podcast episode about that.
Yeah, let's call up Nunez.
Yeah, Nunez. We need we need some dudes to name. So get in the chat.
Edison Volquez.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
He threw a no-hitter, didn't he?
I believe so.
I think he did.
I believe so.
Guy was nasty for like 2 years, and then just got rocked.
Guy like that, like a Ubaldo Jimenez.
Yeah, well,
he threw perfect.
No,
or was it also a no-no?
No, he had a no-no when he was on the Rockies, and had like a 2.3. Yeah, it is Marcus Thames is the Yankees hitting coach. He had like a 2.3 ERA in Colorado, and everyone was like, "This guy's the greatest pitcher of all time." Like, how did he didn't win the Cy Young that year? And it was like, how?
It's an affront to justice.
And then he went to Cleveland and just got absolutely shelled for 4 years.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Well, he lost his fastball. He used to throw 97, and then he gets to Cleveland, and all of a sudden it's 92. He just lost 5 miles an hour on his fastball in
Different
like a year.
balls.
It apparently, I don't know. But all right, that's our brief name and dude segment. We might do more in the break, which we're about to take. We'll be right back here on Outside the Box Score, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent.
I saw, so in The Longest Yard, when the refs are screwing him and they start to get after him, they intentionally hit him. It's very funny.
Yeah.
I saw it's not Little League. It was probably like 14-year-olds, but they did this. So there's a play at the plate. The team thought they got robbed. And so then they lined up the next pitch, fastball down the middle, catcher jumps out of the way, full dives, ump right in the chest.
Oh!
And I mean, again, so it's probably like 60 miles per hour, maybe. It's not going to kill you, but it's still a baseball that came in to hit you, and the catcher dove out of the way, and he literally just starts looking around like, what the hell are we doing here? And the coach, there's like a kid in the back goes, "Good job, Justin, good try." And it's like, what? They're trying to injure this guy because he made the right call, by the way, in my eyes, for my eyes. But the intention, and he just got up, he goes, "The game is over."
Yeah.
He goes, "You're gone. You're gone. You're done.
Yeah.
You lose. The game is." And they're like, "What? What?" He's like, "You can't do that." And then it just kind of ended. But I'm like, could you imagine just being intentionally? And then you all call the game, and they're like, "Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You libtard. You're so soft." And you're like, "You just tried to hit me.
You tried. That's insane.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild, wild game.
Mark, did you see that call in the Oregon game where the guy got ejected? No, I heard about it, but I have not seen the clip yet. We've got Ryan in the chat saying umps are pussies. So are you for not actually going to Alaska, you coward.
Oh, he's 50 State, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not Alaska?
His girlfriend got a contract in California. They're just staying there for a while.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Completely checks out.
Yeah,
okay.
No, it does make sense. I just like to call him a coward. Drive to Alaska. That was the whole point.
That is fair. That drive's got to be a lot. Even if you're in NorCal, say you're in Sacramento.
It's
Sacramento
like a 3-day drive.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
My God.
There's 2 roads that go into Alaska.
It's like Cape Cod.
It's except.
Oh, except, yeah.
Way the fuck up there. Also, a couple of other dudes that were named Daniel Cabrera and Kevin Millwood.
Daniel Cabrera, what about Struble?
Struble, that's a good one. Juan Encarnacion.
Edgar Renteria.
Sure. Tony Womack.
Tony Womack. You got me thinking.
Troy Hunter, Pat says.
Troy Hunter's a good one. Alex Rios.
Alex
one of my
Rios,
favorites.
Sure, yeah.
That guy was good.
He was good.
He was real good.
He had a few years where he was really good. Melvin Mora said stoned. Chad Tracy. Chad Tracy, manager of the Woo Sox, I think.
I couldn't tell Chad Tracy from Patrick Mahomes.
Are you Chad Tracy? Troy Glaus, Phil Hughes. Is Phil Hughes too well known to be a?
He might be.
Yeah, he's close. Everett Cabrera. That's a good one.
That's also Yankee bias, maybe too, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
some Yankees, it's tough to really pull a deep, like
Yeah.
a Yankee that might fit the mold of like an odd 1990s thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you're saying Bernie Williams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just tough with Yankees sometimes.
Say, hey, Phil Hughes. Pat said he stunk.
Phil Hughes?
Phil Hughes, highest single season strikeout to walk ratio in the history of Major League Baseball.
Doesn't sound like he stinks to me.
When he was on the Twins. He had like a 14 strikeout to walk ratio. It was insane.
For you. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
And we're back. Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Dudes are being named in the chat.
Catfish Hunter.
We were just saying how if you're going to name a Yankee, it's got to be someone who barely played there. So I said Raul Ibanez or Travis Hafner, and you were like, yeah. And then you come back with former Cy Young winner, Hall of Famer, famously one of the first big free agents that the Yankees ever signed, Catfish Hunter.
Are the people that ruined the game? Some would say.
Some would say that
Catfish.
We've mentioned it before.
Yep.
It's the greatest old man take. Is your grandfather saying that free agency ruined baseball?
But then he continued to watch baseball until the day he died.
For 50 years.
But it was tarnished for the next 50 years because they let the players pick where they wanted to play. And that was a crime.
It's just so funny. I can't imagine. It just the pure hatred of Marvin Miller and Kurt Flood that
it's like, don't you get to pick, like you could retire from your job, Gramps, and go to somewhere else. He goes, that's not the point. You play for a team, you got some loyalty. That's what it's all about. They picked you. That's your team. Yeah, sure. Until they decide to trade you, right? They go, well, that's their duty.
Yeah,
that's their right.
Listen, Frank Robinson never wanted to go to Baltimore. What team was your grandpa? Yankee fan? Yeah. Which is also funny.
Yeah,
he was a Yankee fan.
He had a great heel run. He did great heel work from about 2008 to 2015. He was a Red Sox fan. Not really, but he would watch Red Sox games when they were on TV. Mm-hmm. He would root against the Yankees. He'd watch all their games and be like, this guy sucks. He'd be like, Safati is terrible. He just did heel work for about 10 years where he started to turn on them. He hated the Yankees for a brief period in his 60s.
Why?
And then he came back to the light. I don't know. It was very funny stuff, though. You'd be like, come on, you don't really like the Red Sox. He'd be like, well, I hate the Yankees. That team sucks. They did nothing but good. I'm like, they won 20 titles in your lifetime, pal. What are you talking about?
I like that you said it was like 08 to 2015.
Title, yeah.
So they won a title in 09.
No, he was out. He hated him. Matsui couldn't stand him. Well, for other reasons. He fought in the war. And, he hated He hated a bunch of those guys.
I mean, I can see like hating A-Rod or something because like the steroids or something. But this guy's sitting there like, this Jeter guy stinks.
He liked Jeter.
Oh, did he?
Jeter was the one saving grace. A-Rod, don't touch him. Teixeira was a bum. Safadia.
He used to call him Safadia?
Undoubtedly, yes. I mean, the list goes on. Yeah.
That is incredible. I wish I met this man.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to sit down and have a conversation with your grandfather.
Some of the best heel work in the biz for that 10-year stretch there. Just coincidentally, when they were awful. Yeah, and he's like, good. This team sucks.
They weren't.
for the first 2 years, but then
Yeah.
2010s
they
kind of dry.
Yeah, they had some trouble, but those were that was the Raul Ibanez team in 2013. Like, how could we forget like the run they went on? Like, there were some guys that played for those
glimmers.
And then he came back as soon as Aaron Judge showed up. Pretty much.
About then, yeah.
Yeah, like right before, like when it was like Judge and
right around Miguel Andujar. I remember that. He really, I don't know why that
big Miguel
but
Andujar
he enjoyed. He was good because he was rookie of the year, right?
Yep.
And he really.
I don't
he
remember,
was in the conversation.
Yeah, I don't remember if he won it or not.
Maybe he got screwed, and that was another thing. He goes, Andujar got screwed. He was the rookie of the year. That was right around then. Whenever that was.
Yeah, he 2018. He finished second.
Okay, so right around 2017.
Oh yeah,
maybe,
that was Ohtani.
Okay, that's a tough loss.
Yeah,
right around then he came back. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Your dad, Jeter, is about the only redeemable guy from that group. Maybe then he says maybe Rivera. Not true, as we now know about Mariano.
What? What did he do? No.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was some bad stuff with Mo. He said, I was sitting in the living room with Dad when Larritz hit the home run in 1995. ... I need to hear the rest of this.
Wait, what did he say?
He said I was sitting. He said I was sitting in the living room with Dad when Larritz hit the home run in 1995. Big home run in Yankees history, Jim Larritz. So I just need to hear where the rest of that story is going. But it's so funny the dichotomy between your grandfather and mine, because my grandpa was an old school sports fan. I mean, he died when he was 93 years old. Like and he was a Philadelphia Phillies fan because he was from Utica Utica area. And the Utica Blue Sox were the AA affiliate for the Phillies or something back in like the 30s. And so he was watching like Richie Ashburn, like these old school Phillies guys, like go through Utica. And so he became a Phillies fan, and he loved baseball, but he didn't like follow it like that until I came around and started playing baseball. And he loved the game, but he wasn't like a diehard or anything, because also it was hard to watch Phillies games. Like, you never get Phillies games unless it's on national television.
They didn't really have
here.
MLB TV back in the late 90s.
Yeah. So, but it's just so funny. Like, he was so like, I remember hearing him talk about Jackie Robinson and stuff like that, and he was like, it was the greatest thing ever. He was like, watching this guy, like all the stuff he had to go through and everything. He was like, it was so awesome to see the color barrier get broken, and like he used to talk about things like that. And I just hear stories about your grandfather.
I mean, give him some credit on Jackie. I never asked him about Jackie.
Yeah,
he was definitely alive, but I don't know. I don't know if I want. He's tough though, because he's kind of like I am, where it's hard to get a straight answer from.
Well, yeah, and like, but it's not even so much like, I'm not calling him a racist or anything.
Right.
It's just like he's like my grandfather was always so wholesome about the history of baseball, and your grandfather's just the opposite. He's like, nope, hate it. It's the free agency.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if I tried to get a real answer, he probably did believe like, oh yeah, of course they should play, but he'd be like, gotta ruin the game. Once that started happening, play went. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe my dad would have more information on his
he said we did go see 42 with him in the theaters, I think.
Oh, that's right. We did. I forgot that.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not what I was trying to imply, obviously. That was just the example that I used. Like, but I remember talking to my grandpa about like Marvin Miller, and he was like, yeah, the guy was a hero for the game of baseball, and your grandfather just resented him. He's like, yeah, glad he's dead. Like, the guy ruined the game. It's just
nothing I hate more than players getting money where they want to play.
Nothing I hate more than players having autonomy. That's
where I get it from.
Those scumbags. Well, yeah, you are a big owners guy.
I'm a huge owners guy.
Yeah, I'm shocked that I'm shocked that Jerry hasn't changed your opinion on owners.
Buddy, I'm really close to. I mean, I've said some heinous things about this man in the last couple of years.
I know you're anti-Jerry now.
Yeah, he's lost me.
But I'm surprised he hasn't changed your opinion on owners in general.
I mean, honestly, I look around all my teams. They all have pathetic ownership.
Yeah, the Reds
The
ownership's
Kral's
real
family, the Pagula's football, not
Great.
bad.
Yeah.
Pagula's hockey, bottom of the some of the worst ownership in history of sports.
Yeah.
And then what do I get? I guess I don't know. I can't keep taking the Knicks. I can't keep coming back to the Knicks because now they're good again.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep doing it. So now I said Julius Randle's gone, but I like the Sixers. The Sixers also bad though. If it was the Sixers bad.
Sixers bad.
Doesn't matter. I don't like the NBA. But yeah, the ownership thing is just brutal in sports. Just believing in one singular person to make your idea how the team should be. It's just asinine.
Pat said Dolan is actually a good sports owner, and I'll die on that hill. That's the hottest take I've ever heard. James Dolan?
Didn't he have Knicks alumni removed from the state? Who was the guy?
Yeah, it was Charles Oakley.
Yeah, what?
He had him banned from Madison Square
James
Garden.
Dolan's a jerk.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
What?
He goes, the Knicks and Rangers absolutely print money.
Is Pat
yeah.
They're an MSG.
Yeah.
It's a freak show. Well, yeah, anyone could sell out MSG.
The thing is, he owns MSG.
Right.
That's James Dolan's thing, is he doesn't just own the Knicks and the Rangers. He owns the stadium. And then his cousin owns the Cleveland Guardians.
If the Minnesota Wild played in MSG, they would sell out.
Yeah. He said, yeah, but at the end of the day, they're running a business, and even when the teams are bad, they're still super profitable.
Then Jerry Jones is the greatest owner in the history of sports.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's the most profitable franchise brand ever. Like, of course, if it's all just about the money, he's the best. Undoubtedly. He's just the best. But
and
I'd like to win some championships.
Well, Pat says football is different.
What? Well, how is football any different? What do you mean?
This is
Pat.
This is classic
This is
Pat.
semantics.
This is classic Pat.
Okay.
Football's different, though. Jim says Jones is the best owner when it comes to money.
Sure.
Which, yeah. And Pat says, I really don't think this is that hot of a take. See, you ask how football's different, and then he goes, I don't think this is that bad. But he didn't answer the question.
We got him right.
We got it right in the palm of our hand.
What's next? He's going to say that you look ugly today.
We
know exactly where he's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Your watch is stupid. Something about your hair. I'm sorry.
Thanks, pal.
I'm reading Pat. That's
No, he said, what's the question? The question was,
why is football different?
Why is football different? Why are you saying that football is different than
basketball?
Why is football different? That's the question. We're going to answer it when we come back here on Outside the Box Score.
What? All the budget has to be used now? And we can use all the media buy?
Javier's marketing.
Your dad said, are you allowed to wear a shirt of a guy flipping people off on air? I didn't realize that's what he was doing on your shirt.
I told Mark that I don't know how I got it. I think somebody got it for me for Christmas, and I don't even like it. I've listened to maybe one Johnny Cash song ever, but he flicks them off. That's why I showed you, and you're like, that's great. It's Pat.
Yeah, and it's this fucking Pat, call back.
This place is going down.
Outside the Box Score. Okay, I'll put you on hold. He goes, it's me. I'm addressing this.
Pat's coming into address.
Jim said, miss the Myers Creek ad. Now we get full break, no commercials. Myers Creek's a little up in the air.
Myers Creek's up in the air?
Yeah, a little bit.
What the hell?
We'll talk about it off there.
What the fuck? That's our cash cow.
We'll talk about it off there.
Jesus.
I said, Pat called and says, I'm going to address this. And Ryan goes, Pat's wearing a dress? One can only imagine he is, Ryan.
I mean, he's not running 5Ks at 7 a.m. He's wearing dresses.
Yeah. Stoned, I got McDonald's to help my hangover. The single best hangover cure in the world. Just a large Coke from McDonald's.
Bang. Couldn't agree more.
Every Saturday in college.
Every Saturday now.
Well, yeah. But in college, before Hot Stove, remember I would show up late all the time?
Yeah.
Half the time was because I had to go to McDonald's and grab a Coke.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
That show started at noon.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Was it
I
noon?
get it. I thought it was noon to 2.
Yeah, it was noon to 2. Yeah.
Is the Gale going with you today to the wedding?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a long thing? Is it an all-night thing?
I don't think so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like to get in, get out, have your fun, eat your meal.
Yeah, it's just it's an old friend of mine, so
Yeah.
and hell, she's been with her boyfriend or husband 10 years, and that's half as long as I've known her. So met her on the first day of kindergarten.
Oh, this is an OG.
Yeah.
Real good. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out Michaela. Going to be happily married.
Anyone really happily married?
They will be.
Ugh.
They're
Why do they say that? Those people ruin it for everybody. I hate that.
Stone said, I don't need the soda. Soda and whiskey is what got me here. I need grease.
We're still doing the ads?
Yeah,
It's
it's
done
still
yet?
going.
I'll tell you, when you're on that phone, it feels like an eternity. When I called from Canada,
Yeah.
like I was on hold for 7-8 minutes.
Yeah. And it was like
It was a
3.
minute and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like it's a long time.
Especially Pat right now, he's just fuming. He's going, of course it's different. Of course it's different. For no reason.
Yeah.
Like, whatever he says, what do we think he's going to say?
I have no
Start
idea.
brainstorming here.
But I think we should just. I don't think he can hear us right now. But
I mean, if he's got a stream pulled up.
Coolers welcome, and kids 12 and under get in free all weekend long. Tickets and camping are going fast. Get yours now at PoconoRaceway.com.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. We're going to jump over to the phone lines, and of course, it's Pat. All right, Pat. What's the deal here?
My credibility is being called into question here.
Well, we're just curious. We're just curious. What makes football different from other sports in terms of the money being the only thing that matters in terms of who's a good owner?
Okay, I mean, there's an easy answer to that. Number one, I think Jerry Jones is probably one of the better ones, too. Because, I mean, obviously, the Cowboys have absolutely ballooned in value since he bought it way back in the day, obviously. They're one of the biggest brands in the world.
They're the biggest sports franchise in the world, according to valuation.
That's arguable between that, Yankees.
Yeah, but according to Forbes, they're number one.
Okay, whatever. Fine. We can say that. I mean, that makes Jerry Jones a very profitable owner, makes him a good owner. Yep. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about money, I mean, NFL owners are kind of born on third base because their revenue sharing right there, like practically guarantees through the TV contracts and stuff that they're all going to be profitable every single year. Mm-hmm. Where it's like baseball, basketball, hockey, all of them have to depend on like local affiliates to like get people involved and get these big TV contracts. So it's like, a team in the Baltimore Orioles will have a tougher time being profitable than the Ravens by far without any money being spent at all, if that makes any sense.
That does make sense.
So wouldn't New York have an advantage?
Well, Josh brings up a good point. Yeah, New York will naturally have an advantage, especially if the reason you own the Knicks is because you own their arena and the network that they play on.
Well, I feel like most owners do that, though.
The Red Sox don't own Nesson. It really is like a New York thing. Yeah, the Yankees own Yes, but
But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, but you got to understand, it's like, yes, the Yankees own yes, and yes, there's the MSG network, obviously the Dolan family owns, but it's like, they did that. It's like, instead of like depending on local affiliates in New York to show their games, like whatever Bally Sports used to be, whatever, because that's gone.
Yeah, it's
whatever
FanDuel
Bally
now.
Sports used to be. FanDuel, which sucks,
yep.
But then they go around. They don't have to depend on these local affiliates. They start their own thing, and that makes it profitable. I don't think they're very profitable with the MSG network, but I mean, they're still like own it, and they're still making money off of that too. That's a good business decision, in my opinion.
MSG network actually notably not profitable. They're very much struggling.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of a business decision you have to make because you have to show these games somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With football, it's like it's going to be on CBS, Fox, NBC, once all Prime, and ESPN. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have to worry about the local affiliates, and you're going to get paid regardless because all these major networks want to show these games because they're obviously the biggest things on TV at the time.
So, but why is money so much more valuable to those types of ownerships? Where I get what you're saying. They have to make their own money. It's a lot harder. I understand that that's a good value point for them, but why do championships also not matter?
Well, I mean, nobody's saying that championships don't matter, but I mean, I think Dolan gets a lot of heat for the Knicks when the Rangers are pretty competitive every year. I mean, the Rangers are a big brand too, and he owns them as well. I mean, honestly, when the Knicks are bad, like you still can't get into MSG for under $100. Like to sit in like the worst seat in the house. It's like it's always stacked for Rangers and Knicks, and it's like they're still two of the biggest brands in sports. So it's like we're talking about like, hey, I bought this business and I built it up to a point where people like recognize it and people want to be a part of it, no matter what the actual quality of it is. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I guess my thing is that has just as much of the fact, in my opinion, that it's New York City. It's
sure, but I mean, you don't say about a ton of cities, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say it about Boston. You could say it about Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think that is as big of a factor as anything that, okay, it's, you know, we need something to do tonight. Let's go to the next game.
Of people.
Yeah.
But you could also say that it's like, yeah, big market, but it's also more competition. I mean, you think about it. We have 2 NBA teams. We have essentially 3 NHL teams. So you got the Rangers, Devils, and Islanders, which are all a train right away. Mm-hmm. And then you got 2 football teams. You got 2 Major League Baseball teams. I mean, there's a lot of competition for, like, if I'm just sitting around, it's like, hey, what am I going to go do today? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that's
so it's like, yeah, big market. Don't get me wrong, but like, there's a lot of other stuff going on.
I think Pat has defended himself well enough to I'll agree that his James Dolan take isn't that hot per se. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I still think he's a bad owner. He's a good businessman. Yes.
Oh, here we go. I've heard this one.
No, he's a good businessman, a profitable, good businessman. I wouldn't want to be a Knicks fan and constantly deal with the strife that the team has to go through because of the owner.
Is he the Shad Khan of the North?
Kind
Is that
of.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
I would kind of say he's kind of taking a step back. I mean, you really haven't seen much from him in the news lately. And with the Knicks being good, you kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and that just goes to show that the reason they're good is not because of him.
Well, no, I mean, I really don't think you could say that about a ton of owners, but like, the reason the teams are good are not necessarily ever about the owner. It's about who's running the teams. Mm-hmm. So it's like the owner's kind of overseeing the business of everything. And then like, you're talking about like front office, like general managers and stuff like that. Like that's the people who are going to make your team successful.
But the owner,
and yes, you can make an argument. It's like the owner
picks
people
them
in those places. Yeah. Sure, 100%. But at the same time, I think it's tough to be like, it's tough to determine an owner's success rate just based off of like how successful the team is, because I mean, only one team wins it every year. Sure. So it's like, all right, we're going to be good and we're going to get people interested and we're going to make money. So like, we're going to keep the business moving. So it's like one time we are going to get to that point and we are going to be this like championship winning team. So it's like, I mean, you can't have one without the other.
Who are the best owners in the history of sports, in your opinion?
Dude, the Pagulas with the Bills are very sneaky, really good.
With the Bills, yeah.
I mean, you think about it.
Yeah, with the
turned around
Bills,
that team.
we're also
With
going to
the
sit
Bills,
and consider the Sabres.
Yeah.
I said with the Bills.
Yeah.
They got the new stadium coming too. At which the state is paying like at least half for, which I mean that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is a good owner. George Steinbrenner, great owner. I know you can say whatever about Hal, but
You
Steinbrenner,
named
great
the
owner.
one. It's George.
George Steinbrenner. Well, yeah, obviously.
And that's why I asked, like, who are the greatest owners in the history of sport? There's one that comes to mind, and it's George Steinbrenner. And it's not just for the money. It's not just for what he turned the Yankees into from a profit standpoint. It's what he did to make the Yankees the Yankees.
That was also a completely different time, though, where it's like you didn't have a luxury tax back then. You didn't have these TV contracts. It's like the Yankees weren't on TV at that point when George Steinbrenner took over. So it's like you're dealing with like it's multiple ways. It's like, okay, we have to make this team profitable. We have to figure out how. And things are so much more complicated now than they were back then. Like back then, people thought a lot like Josh's grandfather, where they're like, free agency is ruining sports. And George Steinbrenner was like, whatever, dude. I have all of this money. I'm going to use it. You can't do that anymore.
I mean, you can. The Los Angeles Dodgers exist. You can do that.
Sure, but like, look where the Mets are. You know what I mean? It's like Steve Cohen came in. He's like, I'm not afraid to spend money. Went and spent a ton of money the first year on people who like honestly didn't really deserve the contract that they got.
No,
and now he's like,
it was a
I'm paying
bad
all this
look the
luxury
first
tax.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm paying all this luxury tax for Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't make any sense. So it's like owners can't really, as much as everybody's like, these owners have to spend money. It's like, sure, but like at some point the owners are gonna be like, man, we're spending a lot of money here, and it's like we're really losing money like all the time. Like there's gonna be a time where the Dodgers are like, yeah, we cannot afford these people anymore. It's like the fun's over.
Yeah,
they're also in LA, so it's a little different.
And when that time comes, which is right after Shohei Ohtani's 10-year contract, where they're going to start having to pay him $68 million a year in deferred money, when that time comes, the Dodgers will already have 2 titles at least, because that's what they have. They will have 2 titles at least, and they will have had the best players in baseball for a significant stretch. And
tell me when you can pay bills with that. The lights got to stay on.
Money comes from winning just as much as it does anything else. You get more advertising. You get more fans in the stands. You can raise prices. Like there's so many things that come with winning from a financial standpoint that you can't make the argument that it doesn't help,
especially in a big market.
Especially in a big market.
For sure, it helps. I will say though, I don't think the Super Bowls. Actually, I'm going to walk that back. I was going to say I don't think the Super Bowls have made the Chiefs that much more valuable.
Of course they have.
So it's like they're all, but yeah, that definitely has an effect. But sure, but like at the same time, I mean, you have to look at it. It's like I said before, it's just you have to look at it as like, all right, it's a guy who owns a business, and it's like, how do we make this business successful? How do we get these people? How do we get people involved with the business? And it's like. The Knicks are a big brand. Cowboys are a big brand. You know what I mean? Like, I guess the Jets too. Yeah. But like that Jets, the stadium there, I don't know, those owners or whatever, that stadium there sucks. But yeah, if you just look at it from the perspective of like, all right, we're keeping the lights on, people are involved, the teams look interesting. It's like, I think that's the barometer of a good owner. People talk about the Pirates ownership and they're obviously cheap, but like they're one of the only Major League Baseball teams who consistently turn a profit year after year. And they're stink.
They do stink.
That's also, that's why I'm saying there's more to it, because part of that is you have one of the 3 best ballparks in baseball. Like the Pirates had good ownership at one point that helped them get to this point, and now they don't. The example I'm going to use is the Colorado Rockies. Just look at the Rockies, and that's. They don't make money. They don't win anything. And they are now on pace to be the worst team in the history of Major League Baseball, surpassing the Chicago White Sox. Another team with horrible ownership. Sorry, Jerry Reinsdorf. It's not 1995 anymore.
By the way.
Yeah, it's also cyclical, though, where it's like, yeah, they stink right now, but it's like it wasn't that long ago that they were really like a contending NL team. It's like, yes, it stinks, but like teams go through ups and downs in their history. I mean, the Red Sox definitely have had. I mean, the Red Sox before 2004 were like nothing.
Yeah, and I would argue, as much as I don't like the direction that the ownership is taking them in right now, like I would never sit here and say that John Henry and Fenway Sports Group are bad owners. I don't like the direction.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's not because of how much money they make, because they also own Liverpool. Right. It's
I don't think they do anymore. I think they might have sold that.
No, they do.
Yeah. Oh, they do still? Yeah. They just sold something.
Yeah, but they also have a stake in the Penguins.
Yeah.
So it's not because of how much money they bring in. It's the fact that they bought the team in like 2001, and then 3 years later won a World Series, and then 3 years after that won a World Series, and then 6 years later they did it again. Like they turned the Red Sox from the laughingstock of Major League Baseball, this 86-year curse, into a legitimate contender every few years. Now, it's not every year. They're in a bit of a down year right now. And personally, it's because I think they care a lot about Liverpool and are starting to care less about the Boston Red Sox, which I hate for Fenway Sports Group.
Yep.
But I would never sit here and say they're bad owners of the Red Sox, and it has nothing to do with the profit they make.
I think the A's owner has to have some
wild... John Fisher's another one.
Well, but he gets out of it so much because last year the White Sox were so bad.
Yeah.
And this year the Rockies are like the trendy bad story. People stop talking about the A's ownership being really bad because the product on the field is getting better.
Yeah,
somewhat. I think
anything's better.
I kind of have a take about the A's too, but where it's like I kind of like I really understand them moving out of Oakland. Like that move actually makes a lot of sense to me. And people don't want to admit it. And obviously, it sucks for the fans, but like stadium's tough shape. So it's like you either spend all this money in the stadium for a market that like really isn't that great, or you go to this big hot market that all these teams are going to, and you try to see what sticks there. It's like that's honestly the business move that makes the most sense.
Maybe it's just me. I don't think Vegas is going to last as a sports town.
I mean, it's worked out pretty well for the Golden Knights. I don't know. I think that's a pretty. I think
the
NHL
Golden Knights,
and Major League Baseball.
The Golden Knights are different because that's a Vegas team.
Well, this is going to be a Vegas team now.
But not born and bred in Vegas. That's what makes the Knights different. Is that they came in and started in Vegas. That's Vegas's team is the Golden Knights. The Raiders, the A's. You're just taking someone else's. And I think that's part of why the Knights have had success, where the Raiders, I mean, how often is that stadium sold out?
Sure.
Pretty often, actually.
It doesn't seem like, I mean, I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like that, they have at least as passionate of a fan base as they did in Oakland. Because
Dude, I'll tell you, it's real hard to get tickets there.
Say what you want about Oakland as a market. As a fan base, there isn't a much bigger diehard fan base than Oakland fans.
Vegas
is. It kind of goes back to the whole thing where we're talking about crowded markets, because it's like, yeah, I mean they're a little further away from each other, but it's like you got the Giants there, you got the Warriors there. I mean, you got the Niners, so it's like that's a pretty crowded sports market there already for a smaller market, and it's like the A's just didn't make any sense anymore. It's like we are by far the bottom of the barrel here. We need a new stadium. The state's probably not going to give us any money for it because they're like, we don't really need the A's at this point. It's like, let's go try something else.
Pat, I got one question for you before we got to let you go here. About to run out of time.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier about MetLife Stadium. If hypothetically there was an event coming up that I might want to go to in MetLife, do I really want to go to it? I've never been to the stadium. You've been. Give me some tips, pointers.
Yes.
It's worth it.
I mean, yeah, if you want to go to the World Cup final, yes, it's probably going to be worth it.
I was thinking more like SummerSlam.
SummerSlam? Okay, well, all right.
Same thing, though. It's going to be big. Early August.
August? I mean, yeah, SummerSlam, dude, SummerSlam's going to crush there. The clientele at MetLife Stadium is going to love. Absolutely love Slam, dude. Okay. A lot of cut off T-shirts, a lot of barbecue stains, a lot of pregnant bellies sticking out, and also the women are smoking.
Okay.
So it's like it's one of those things where I think it'll fit in very well there. But actually, text me. I'll give you places to stay.
Excellent. Awesome.
Perfect. Pat,
For sure.
Pat, a very lively discussion as always, my friend.
Yes, of course.
Good talking to you, and catch up with you soon.
Yep, later, fellas.
All right, there he is, Pat calling in. Great conversation, as always, when Pat Burke calls in. Saratoga Pat, as we like to call him. We got to take a timeout. We're running way late. We'll be right back.
You love to work on automobiles. You're a great automotive technician, but
Vegas is fucking scary. I think they're back. No. I think something's going on out there.
Really?
People are pulling some fucking strings for Vegas. WWE just canceled. They had WrestleMania scheduled next year in New Orleans. They canceled.
And
they're potentially going back to Vegas again. Like TKO has their thing.
Well,
they're pulling people around.
I'm not saying Vegas is a bad sports town, because it never has. I mean, boxing and all the events that have happened in Vegas over the years, it's always been a good sports town. It's not a good local sports town.
Completely agree. If you I know a lot of people who
it's a great event town.
Right. I know a lot of people who live out there who do like influencing things, and they talk about sports and stuff, and they're like, the Strip is dying. Like Vegas is dying.
Yeah.
Like it's still this great big destination thing, but like nobody lives in Vegas.
No.
Nobody's like building, families in Vegas. Nobody's starting lives in Vegas. It's just a weird hole in the wall part of the country that still lives on this like luxurious type of feel that was like the 70s and 80s of this big pop and circum, and it's just not. Like it's just scary. Honestly, like it's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I don't want to go there. It's kind of freaking me out. What kind of pull those people have out there?
Yeah, Vegas is an event town.
Mhm.
I don't know how many people are going to go to 81 athletics games in Vegas.
No. I mean, yeah, you're going to get, honestly, the crowd has to be the guys who are going on the trips that weekend or that week
And
or whatever. And they're like,
that's what it always is.
Right.
And
why don't we pair it up with an A's game?
which is fine.
Yeah, it'll work.
But my argument is that no one actually cares.
Right. So if you get even half as good ticket sales, right? Because right now they're not selling out maybe a couple thousand a year. So let's say they even sell out 20,000 a game. That's way better.
Yeah.
How many people are buying their fucking jerseys still now? You know what I mean? Like who actually gives a shit? That's where you're getting at, right? Like who gives a shit to buy the merch?
Yeah.
To come more, to buy season tickets?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. They're gonna have some luxury box that some rich jackass is gonna buy for the whole year.
Yeah.
And that'll be great. They'll make a shit ton of money on that. But nobody actually cares.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why the A's going there pains me, because Oakland fans are so rabid.
Oh yeah.
It's an incredible fan base. I mean, there are Raiders fans everywhere.
Well, that's the problem. Like Pat was saying, they left. They just gave up.
Yeah, they just gave up. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Wrapping up another fun-filled hour. Great conversation we just had with Pat.
That's a quick break.
It had to be. It really had to be, Josh. We only got about a minute left after that conversation, and we had only taken one break up to that point. So, just wanted, we can keep talking about this, like we were just talking about during the break, in terms of ownership and the Athletics and John Fisher. Yeah, my whole thing is just, maybe they work out in Vegas, and first of all, they have to actually have permission to go to Vegas.
Right,
they still don't have that. But
Sacramento A's got a nice ring to it.
I actually wouldn't hate if they stayed in Sacramento. If they actually got a stadium and didn't play in a AAA ballpark.
Right.
Sacramento, I don't think would be a bad spot for them. But if they go to Vegas, it's what you said. It's who's buying the jerseys, who's actually going to care about that team. I just don't see it. I don't see them, selling out. I don't see a rabid fan base going to 81 home games in Vegas.
Are those diehard Knights fans now all of a sudden A's fans?
I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it. Well, that's the show. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. right here on the Score 1260. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and interacting with us. Peace.